Hey guys, back again with another main event review. Thank you very much for tuning in once again. Lots to cover on this week's episode of the main event review. And it looks like, and I'm trying not to jinx this, and I'm hoping that it can happen on a weekly basis, we are getting 3 main event matches and solely main event content at the moment. The last 2 episodes we had have just been main event matches. Now, I don't know if that's because they were not in America, they were touring Saudi Arabia, they were touring Toronto, and that they'll go back to 2 matches when they return. But if this is going to be the new main event structure, I'm here for it. 3 matches to cover, not getting in the way of stuff that's happening on SmackDown and Raw, which we do like to talk about, but we can allow that for the sort of PLEs when we get closer. I think it's a lot more refreshing. So, yeah, 3 matches to get through today. Nothing crazy as normal on main event. But before we get into all of that, and look, we know Raw's tomorrow. If you're listening to this today, it'll probably be today, whatever. Bron Breakker has a hernia surgery, and it looks like he's going to be out indefinitely. And that sort of makes sense as to probably why he got squashed by Obafemi in the Royal Rumble and why they eliminated him so fast and made him number 2, is because it looks like he's going to be out indefinitely. Now, if this is a work, we'll have to see, and I think Raw will cover that up tomorrow. But I think that's probably the main reason why they went with Roman Reigns as the Royal Rumble winner. It seemed as though, based on multiple sources and what I've been looking at, is that they were wanting Bron Breakker to win the Royal Rumble. They were going to book him as the Royal Rumble winner. And, they pivoted straight to the safer option, which was Roman Reigns. And I think that ended up being the right decision. But yes, we were going to potentially get a Bron Breakker CM Punk WrestleMania match with maybe Seth Rollins being involved somehow. Who knows? But now we've got a masked man that's attacked Bron Breakker. Probably not going to know who it is. And no Bron Breakker at WrestleMania, which I think is going to be a shame, because I think everyone was getting really interested in like how he was acting and sort of his attitude towards Adam Silver, how the Vision were against Adam Silver, and that sort of developing storyline there. Now he's probably going to be set back till, I would say, at least Money in the Bank, if that, or SummerSlam. Depending on how things go. Now, I think the silver lining is that whoever other Vision member has been away from the spotlight now has an opportunity to grab the spotlight and be the main man. Will that be Bronson Reed? Will that be Austin Theory? Will that be Logan Paul? Will they add another member? We'll have to see. But that's something that I think is going to be very captivating as we, lead up to Elimination Chamber. Which is also going to be very exciting as well. We're going to find out who's going to take on Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, who's going to take on, I would say, Jade Cargill for the Women's Championship as well, because I feel as though Liv Morgan will take on Stephanie Vaquer. But, we'll have to see. But we'll get straight into main event. Thank you once again for tuning in. We have the first match between the Los Americanos, Rayon Bravo, taking on the Motor City Machine Guns. We had the Motor City Machine Guns taking the victory there. And they didn't finish with Skull and Bones. They finished with a Dirt Bomb, defeating them there easily. Don't really know, again, what the Machine Guns are doing. It looks like they might be taking on Thraxium in a match, but none of those teams are going for the tag team titles. I feel like the Machine Guns just need to get on Raw and just change things up. I would like to see them have a program with the Usos. I think that would be really interesting there. The Usos and the Machine Guns have different sort of career trajectories, but they are known as probably one of the best tag teams of all time. They could use that as a sort of storyline. I think they just put them on Raw. That's I don't know. I just think that they need a fresh brand and a sort of change, because nothing's really happening on SmackDown. The Wyatt Six and the MFTs are dominating. They have the tag team titles associated with them as well. And, there's nothing for the Machine Gun. So that's what I would do. As for Rayon Bravo, they're just parodies at the moment. The real battle is between the Grande Americanos, who the imposter is and who isn't. It's great to see the original one back, which is Chad Gable. It's good to see him back in ring as well. So we'll see how that sort of pans out as well there. We then had the match from Rusev facing on Joaquin Wilde, and that went to Philly. So the first match seems as though that it was filmed in Saudi Arabia, and then the second match is in Philly. So it looks like they're accumulating these matches now, is what I'm thinking. So maybe this might not be the long-term play. Who knows? But this was a Philly matchup from Raw. Joaquin Wilde taking on Rusev, which is basically another match, a rematch, because we had this last week. And, this one was a little bit longer than last. We had a few momentum swings from Joaquin Wilde, but it wasn't enough. We had Rusev hitting the accolade. Basically getting the victory here. Again, Rusev back-to-back main events. Like, what the hell? I don't know. Not really sort of a fan of this at the moment. So, I don't know what's going to be happening with Rusev. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near WrestleMania, which is probably annoying to him. And the last thing he did significant was go for the Intercontinental title, and he didn't win it. He had a really good feud with Sheamus as well when he came back. But since then, he hasn't built any momentum. So that's a bit of a shame. And I think he wouldn't be happy about that either. And then we get the final match. We had the American-made, the Creeds taking on the Alpha Academy. So once again, these two taking on. We have apologies, I just looked at a stat. So I was just reading a stat right now that commentary noted that the Alpha Academy, the Usos are actually are 4-0. No, it's American made, so they haven't won 4 against the Alpha Academy. I thought for a second, and I was trying to read this correctly, I thought for a second, because they're going to be facing the Usos for the tag team titles, I thought that the Usos were 0-4 against the Alpha Academy. And that would have been really interesting. But the American made are the ones that are actually 0-4, so I've read that correctly. So apologies for the pause. And, that made it 0-5 because Tozawa finished off with the Flying Senton, and, the Avalanche Splash as well on Julius, which sort of set up the Flying Senton, and they get the victory here. And that makes the most sense. They obviously need the momentum going into the match against the Usos, which they are most definitely not going to win. So I don't know what the play here is with this, because, I don't think I'm convinced that Jey Uso still wants to be a tag team superstar. I think it's a ruse. I don't know what's going to happen with Jey Uso at WrestleMania. They haven't got a massive feud for him at WrestleMania, or even the Usos as a tag team. So what does the Alpha Academy do, and what happens in this match to build a storyline for the Usos? Because, I don't think that this match should just be a match. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso winning, defending the title, and, we push up. There needs to be something here. The match is gone for the title. We all know that the Alpha Academy is not going to win it. So how can we feel as though this is either Alpha Academy have got a chance, they upset, or something happens in the match that sort of sets us on the path for the Usos to WrestleMania. That's what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow. Because I think, the Alpha Academy have done well, but they're not in a position to be tag team champions. And I don't think they will be holding the belts this close to WrestleMania. So, I don't understand. I don't know what's gonna happen here. But that pretty much wraps up all the main event. I don't expect, more content in this aspect, especially if we're not doing Raw and SmackDown, but nice little 10 or so minute main event reviews. Maybe it goes back to normal next week, who knows. But at the moment, the last 2 episodes, like I said at the start, have been just 3 main event matches. And, we can't really talk about too much of the storyline and the script because, most of these matches are just sort of pre-matches to the shows, and also like opportunities for stars to just get on live crowds, really, and just perform. If it's not through house shows, it's through shows like Main Event, which get aired on YouTube. At least people can see what they're doing and, talk about it. And to be honest, none of them look to be anywhere near TV. Like, you thought Rusev could get TV time. The Machine Guns should get TV time. But otherwise, the Alpha Academy are the only real ones that get the main TV time. And, they're a Main Event staple. So that's the case. But yeah, it's been another episode of the Main Event Review. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode, and I'll catch you guys next week. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.